Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Today, we're going to be tackling something that everyone seems to be talking about these days.
Yeah.
Blockchain.
Interesting choice.
So, we've got this excerpt here called Blockchain, a revolutionary invention transforming society.
Okay.
And I think that's a really good jumping off point for our conversation right
Yeah,
now.
revolutionary is definitely a good word.
Because if it really is going to transform society,
Right.
we need to figure out what it is, how it works, why it matters.
Absolutely.
So, are you ready to discover a technology that could, change everything?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, perfect. So let's just get right to it. What is blockchain?
So imagine a digital ledger, but it's not stored in one place.
Okay.
It's spread across tons of computers, thousands of computers.
That's like all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. A huge network.
Yeah.
And every transaction that happens, it's recorded on this ledger, and everyone on the network can see it.
So wait, everyone can see every transaction?
That's the idea. Yeah, total transparency.
Okay, that's pretty different.
It is. And because it's spread out like that, it's also super secure.
Like more secure than a regular database.
Way more secure, pretty much tamper-proof, yeah.
How? How is it more secure?
Well, because it's not all in one place. You know, traditional databases,
Right.
they're controlled by one central authority.
Like a company or the bank or a government. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So if someone hacks into that system,
They get everything.
but with blockchain.
It's decentralized. There is no single point of failure.
Yes.
No one entity controls it.
So no middleman.
You got it.
Okay. I'm starting to see why people are excited about this.
Yeah.
But where did it all begin? I mean, blockchain. How did this even come about?
So it actually has a pretty interesting origin story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It all started back in 2008 with Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, you know, the first secure currency.
Digital money, right?
Right, exactly. And blockchain was the tech behind it.
Okay. So that's where I've heard about blockchain.
Probably, yeah. But the thing is, blockchain is way bigger than just Bitcoin.
Oh, okay. So it's not just about digital currency.
Not even close.
So what else can it be used for? Give me some examples.
Okay, think about this. Healthcare.
Healthcare.
Yeah, imagine all your medical records are stored on a blockchain.
Okay.
So only your doctors could access them, no one else.
That'll be good. More secure, more private.
Exactly. And more efficient, too. Like, sharing medical info between hospitals would be way easier.
I see what you mean. That would be a huge improvement.
Right. No more lost records, no more data breaches.
Okay, that's a really good example. What else?
Okay, how about this? Supply chains.
Like supply chains.
You could use blockchain to track, like, a product from the moment it's made to when it reaches you.
Like from the factory all the way to my doorstep.
Exactly.
And everyone in the supply chain could see where it is.
Yep. No more fake products, no more delays, no more wondering where your stuff is.
So blockchain can help us know if, our medicine is real or fake.
Exactly.
Wow. So we're talking, really big potential here.
Huge. We're talking about finance, healthcare, supply chains.
Voting.
There's
I've
that.
heard about blockchain voting.
Yes, even voting, art, intellectual property, you name it.
So it really is like the internet, but for trust and transparency.
That's a really good way to put it, yeah.
Okay. But it's not all sunshine and roses, is it? I mean, there have to be some challenges, right?
Of course, with any new technology, there are going to be some bumps in the road.
So what are we talking about here? What kind of challenges?
Well, we'll dive into that in more detail in a bit, but one of the big ones is energy consumption.
Okay, we'll definitely need to talk more about that next time.
Definitely. We can't ignore the downsides.
Right, we need to be aware of those.
Absolutely.
So we ended last time talking about challenges of blockchain, and you mentioned energy consumption.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, I've heard a lot about, Bitcoin mining using a ton of electricity.
Yeah, exactly. It's a real concern.
So how does that even work?
Right.
Why does it use so much energy?
Well, some blockchains, like Bitcoin, use what's called a proof-of-work system.
Proof of work?
Yeah, it's how they make sure transactions are legit and add them to the chain, to the blockchain.
Okay, and that takes a lot of energy.
A lot of computing power.
Yeah.
And that translates into, a ton of electricity.
But, I mean, isn't that kind of counterproductive? If we're talking about a technology that's supposed to be about, progress and sustainability.
Yeah, it's a valid point. But the good news is developers are working on ways to make it more efficient.
Oh, really? So what are they doing?
Well, one promising alternative is something called proof of stake.
Proof of stake. Okay. What is that?
So instead of relying on, massive computing power to validate transactions,
Right.
proof of stake uses users who stake their cryptocurrency.
They stake it?
Yeah, basically they put up some of their crypto as collateral
Yeah.
to show that they're committed to keeping the network secure and honest.
Oh, I see. So it's like a deposit to show you're trustworthy.
Exactly. And because it doesn't require all that computing power, it uses way less energy.
So it's more sustainable in the long run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Much more environmentally friendly.
That makes sense. So what other challenges are we facing?
Well, scalability is a big one.
Scalability. Okay, you're going to have to explain that one to me.
So basically, it's about how many transactions a blockchain can handle per second.
Oh, I see.
And some blockchains, especially the older ones, they can be kind of slow.
So if like everyone starts using blockchain, things are going to slow down.
That's the worry. You could end up waiting hours for a transaction to go through.
And that wouldn't be good. Imagine waiting hours just to buy like a cup of coffee.
Right. It would be a nightmare.
So what can we do about that?
Again, developers are on it. They're working on creating new blockchain architectures and these layer 2 solutions.
Layer 2. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of technical, but basically there are ways to make transactions faster and more efficient.
So it's like adding more lanes to a highway.
Yeah, exactly. More lanes, more traffic.
Okay, that's a good analogy. So it sounds like there's a lot of like a race to make blockchain faster and more efficient before it really takes off.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Okay. And what about the legal side of things?
Yes. Regulation.
I imagine that's pretty complicated with a technology this new.
It is. Governments are still trying to figure out how to deal with blockchain and cryptocurrencies.
So is it like the Wild West out there right now?
Kind of, yeah. There are concerns about, money laundering, consumer protection, all that stuff.
Right. And they need to find a way to balance that with, not stifling innovation.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
So it sounds like we're kind of like building the airplane while we're flying it.
That's a good way to put it. It's a work in progress.
But are you optimistic about the future? Like, do you think we can overcome these challenges?
I am.
Really?
Yeah. I think human ingenuity is pretty amazing.
Okay.
We've faced tough technological challenges before, and we've always found a way.
So you think it's possible that blockchain could really live up to its potential?
I do, yeah. But I think it's important to also be realistic.
In what way?
Well, we need to be aware of the potential downsides, not just the benefits, and we need to have a conversation about the ethical implications.
Oh, right. So it's not just about the tech itself, but how it's used.
Exactly.
Okay, well, that's a perfect segue to our next topic.
Oh, yeah.
The ethics of blockchain.
All right, let's get into it.
So we've talked about the potential of blockchain. We talked about some of the challenges. But now I think it's time to get into some of the really big questions.
Yeah, the ethical implications.
Exactly. I mean, we're not just talking about ones and zeros here. This is about how this technology could actually impact people's lives.
It's a powerful tool for sure.
Yeah, and like any powerful tool, it can be used for good or
for bad.
Exactly. So, I mean, where do we even begin? What are like the top ethical concerns with blockchain?
Well, one of the big ones that's been getting a lot of attention is bias.
A bias.
Yeah. Like, algorithms are only as good as the data they're trained on, right?
Okay, yeah.
So if the data itself is biased, then the blockchain applications built on that data will be biased too.
Ooh, so we could end up with a system that actually perpetuates inequality.
Exactly.
Wow. That's not a good outcome.
Not at all. That's why it's so important to think about these things from the very beginning.
Okay, so bias. What else?
For privacy is another big one.
Right, because even though blockchain itself is secure,
Right.
the applications on top of it might not be.
Exactly. It's like you can have a super secure house.
Right.
But if you leave the front door wide open,
Anyone can walk in.
Exactly. So, we need to make sure personal data is protected, even in a blockchain world.
Okay, that makes sense. So transparency is good.
Yeah.
But we have to balance that with privacy.
Absolutely.
What about jobs? I've heard a lot about blockchain automating jobs away.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern, especially in industries that rely on, middlemen.
So like bankers and lawyers and stuff?
Potentially, yeah. But it's not necessarily all doom and gloom
Oh.
because new technologies also create new jobs.
Oh, right, of course.
It's more about a shift, I think, in the types of skills that are in demand.
Okay, so it's not like a zero-sum game.
Right. But we do need to make sure people are prepared for those shifts.
We need to be proactive.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got bias, privacy, jobs. Anything else we should be thinking about?
Accessibility.
Accessibility.
Yeah. We need to make sure this technology is available to everyone, not just, the wealthy or tech savvy.
Right. Otherwise, we could end up widening the digital divide.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've identified some of the ethical challenges, but the big question is, what do we do about them?
Well, it's not an easy answer. It requires collaboration, open dialogue, bringing together developers, policymakers, ethicists.
Regular people too, right?
Yeah, everyone. We all have a stake in this.
So it's really about deciding what kind of world we want to create with this technology.
Exactly. It's not just about the tech itself. It's about the values we embed in it.
Okay, so big questions, no easy answers.
That's right.
Well, we've taken you on a bit of a journey today, exploring the world of blockchain.
We have a lot to think about.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground, the potential, the challenges, the ethics.
It's a complex topic, for sure.
But ultimately, I think it comes down to us, the choices we make, the questions we ask, the actions we take.
The future is not set in stone.
It's something we're building together. So I guess what I want to leave people with is stay curious, stay engaged, and keep asking those tough questions.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.